Let's see. Let's rattle off some. Grab bars, toilet paper holders, towel bars, glass panels or doors, TV brackets, curtain rods, closet rods, stair rail, cabinets. Just confirm all of that, right? Where are all these things going to go? Yeah, I'm standing because my desk is kind of a messed up desk situation. It used to be like a drafting table desk, so it doesn't go very low.
Yeah.
And just haven't had time to build a new one or buy another one or whatever. It works.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
right.
yeah.
That's why I'm saying. You're just doing that whole, blood circulation and keep moving and stand at your desk.
No.
It's all the rage these days, I think.
It is. But it's more of a necessity than a choice.
Yeah.
Anyways, here we go again. How are you doing there, Todd?
Yeah. I'm doing pretty good.
How's your week? What's going on? What's new? Anything?
So far, so good. I'm just kind of putting together a couple of small projects this week. We're doing the world's smallest kitchen. I think it's seriously about 70 square feet.
No.
Yeah.
How do you fit all that stuff in a 70 square foot kitchen?
You don't.
Is this a boat?
You don't.
Is this on a boat?
It is not a boat. It is not a motorhome.
Sailboat?
These are some old building.
Really?
And I don't know what the original intention was. And actually the owner was going to try and find out. But it's like even though the whole layout's really odd, but it's a really old building in Winnetka. And it's just, it's so small and it's like a galley style kitchen. So you're talking, a mini fridge that's in there as opposed to a full size refrigerator, an 18-inch dishwasher instead of your typical 24-inch dishwasher, just a little cooktop, as a tiny sink and like bar sink, Yeah. It's, they crammed all in there, just, shrink the scale of everything down,
Wow.
So it's, So it's interesting. I think she's thanked me like 15 times. She's like, thanks for taking on this project. I know it's so small. And I'm just like, no, it's great. I'll keep one guy there. You're not fitting more than one guy working in there. So it's great. It's a perfect project for one of my guys. He just plants them there for a couple of weeks and let them do everything. Out with the olds, in with the new LVP floorings. I think there's 5 cabinets total going in there. And
wow.
Yeah. And we're not even doing the appliances, and then just a little backsplash on one wall, one little floating shelf, one little sconce. That's it. So I was like, that's all you need. A cute little project. Yeah.
That's all you need.
That's it.
Good.
That's it. It's necessities. So yeah. So that's what we're working on this week.
All right. Cool. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I don't even know what to say. I'm glad I'm not there. That's all I got to say.
You're glad you're not here? Are you looking out the window behind me? In the kitchen?
No, I'm talking about the kitchen.
Weather-wise, you're looking out my window.
No. Speaking of weather, what is it like over there? Because, you're in that transition period where one day it's 40 and the next day it's 70. So where are you at today?
40. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, it was 30. It was like 35 this morning. And then we had crazy thunderstorms tearing through. And now it's like 58. And then they're supposed to get thunderstorms again. And then it's supposed to be 40 in the morning. So, like you said, get a little bit of everything. Yeah.
No.
Gross.
Fun.
Yeah.
No, I was saying that I'm happy I'm not in the 70 square foot kitchen.
Right?
Type
How
fit.
about it?
Yeah.
I love some of those little things. There's actually got a really small access to the attic that's like 20 inches wide and 4 feet high. So we're calling it the Hobbit door. So we're going to do one of those little hideaway bookcases, just a little bookcase with trim around it, like a Murphy style or whatever you want to call it, hidden bookcase kind of deal. So she can use that, put some little cookbooks and trinket stuff in there, and then you still have access to the attic when you need it. So, it gives you the opportunity to get clever. I like that.
Yeah. Are you getting any clever though? Is there anything fun and interesting and cool and that you're doing?
That part was, I thought that part was, just a little hideaway. Because otherwise you just have a regular door going to the attic access. It's the only access to the attic. So it's like, well,
Yeah.
let's make use of that and make a little bookcase and, but other than that, there's not a lot of space to get creative with. There's not a lot not a lot. Toe
Okay.
kick drawers, but they didn't want to do those. I asked.
Okay. So you're not doing anything fun and exciting in a small little tiny space, because you are right. I guess that's your opportunity to be really creative and use every single centimeter of space.
Every little trick.
Right? Yeah.
Every little trick.
Yeah.
Toe kick drawer, tilt out for the soap stuff in the sink base. Every little trick you can think of,
Nothing.
No, came up empty on a lot of them. But that's all right. That's all right.
Yeah, whatever. All right.
It'll be pretty.
Fun.
I'll send pictures.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. We've been in design this week. So we've just been monkeying around in the Chief Architect software, working on some design for a master bathroom project. So that's what we're working on.
Nice.
Yeah. So nothing exciting to report. Having fun. I actually enjoy playing around in that software. I think I talked about this last week. So just another week of that. So we're having a good time there.
Takes time. Takes time.
Met with designer yesterday. Came up with a couple other ideas and tweaks. Getting close.
All right. Cool.
So it's looking good.
Are you going to share these awesome design pictures before this comes to fruition, or is that?
I don't know. Maybe when they're ready.
Or is that intellectual property that I'm not able to see?
No, I'll share. Yeah, I'll share. Not yet, though. It's not complete. I can't share work if it's not complete.
I don't want to see half of your design. I don't want to see half of your design work.
It's embarrassing, right? Yeah, it's not done yet. Todd, don't look. It's not finished.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
It's like asking, you don't want to, when you're sitting down at Disney getting your caricature made, you don't want to ask them to look at it before it's completed, right?
No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't dream of it. Wouldn't dream of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go again. Another week of this awesome remodeling renovation situation podcast where we pull back the layers of this crazy, complicated, interesting, complex modeling industry. So
all those things.
Grab your beverage. I'm Joe. I'm here. PNW. You're Todd.
Yeah.
What are we talking about today? What's our situation today there, Todd?
101 series. Next on the list was Drywall 101. But I think
everybody just all of a sudden everyone just clicked off.
I think do you think drywall is a super interesting topic?
I don't think any of these 101s are interesting topic, but
I think we're doing more of a pre-drywall 101.
Pre-drywall.
This is not a rerun. I'm still drinking Guinness. This is not a rerun.
Okay, congratulations. I think I was going to say I think a lot of these 101s are not interesting. However, I think it's, if you're a newer / company out there and you're just starting to get your feet wet in this industry and you're an owner operator and it might be interesting to hear some of these beginner things of these 101s, right? A lot of this stuff is things that and you correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of these things that we come up with or these checklists or these items that we talk about in these 101 series. I wish I heard somebody tell me half of these when I was starting out 20 years ago. Would you agree?
100%. I would agree. Yeah. I think there was, I started just on the job. So I think there was kind of, it's always just broken up and you had to ask questions and whatever. And we didn't necessarily, they hid this information in books. It's not like it was unavailable, but you had to seek it out. You had to go find it. And something that's a little more, that's a little more, I guess just, the day and age we live in, something that's on a podcast, whether that's visual or audio or however you choose to ingest that, or whatever you want to say. It's nice to have that availability, so yeah, for sure. I would take a quick download of a, 30-minute, 40-minute podcast, something that was relevant to what I was going to be doing at work when I was driving to work or from work, and just out of curiosity. And there's a lot of little things I think that we bring up, and hence the idea of just 101. It's a lot of basics and
getting it out there.
Yeah. Someone who wants to do this, from some weekend warrior house flipper, whatever. If you're a house flipper,
Oh yeah, DIYer.
pay attention. If
House
you're a house
flipper.
flipper, stop cutting
If you're a
corners.
house,
Stop cutting corners if you're a house flipper. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, free checklist. So this is kind of the idea of walking around your house before the drywaller gets there.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine that everything's done, all the electric, all the plumbing, everything's been roughed in. Most likely insulation is up, and a lot of this you might want to do before insulation gets up. Also, maybe make life a little bit easier to identify some things.
Mm-hmm.
But this is basically before the drywaller gets here. You want to make sure. Let's touch on a couple, things that are often missed or overlooked or not found.
Sure.
Yeah. What's your first one?
Yeah.
Go.
I think just
1, 2, 3, go.
On its face, like you said, you're going to have all these. You've already had all your mechanicals done, your plumbing, your electric, your HVAC work. You want to make sure your low voltage work is done if you want any of that in walls. And I think a lot
don't
of
skip
that
over
is,
that too much. Low voltage. Nobody thinks about that ever, right? We're not we're running around going electric, plumbing, okay, walls, done, good, go on, tile, right? We're not going, what about speakers? Or where do they want the internet? Or where are they putting a TV? Doorbell. I know a lot of stuff is wireless these days, but nothing beats a piece of copper.
Still doesn't hurt to bring it up. Absolutely.
Yeah.
People have their preferences. So it's a conversation you should have at the very least. Is that I usually, I would say 90% of the projects I do, I don't get involved in low voltage items. People want to add, unless was actually doing like a dedicated theater room or something like that. I'm usually it's not part of my scope. But I absolutely have that conversation with the client and just say, hey, if you're wanting to put any low voltage in your walls, any sort of audio system, any alarm system, things like that, now's the time to do it before we close all this up. So absolutely have that conversation. And I think before, obviously, just on its face, before you're drywalling, make sure all this was inspected and done properly before you're just hanging drywall. So you don't have an inspector coming and tell you to take all that drywall right back off, right?
Yeah. Make sure your rough-in inspections are done. If you're getting them, make sure electric, plumbing, insulation inspection, we have those. So just make sure, obviously framing, all the things.
Yes.
Good point.
Yes. Framing.
Framing.
I not too long ago came across typical kitchen, 90s built kitchen that had soffits, and they want to eliminate all the soffits, which we did. And we had that plumbing vent that got jogged around, and some ran through that soffit and tied into a laundry room vent also and went up and out. And I don't remember all the specifics, but I remember that part of this 2x4 wall was a structural wall. It was a load-bearing wall. And in order to get that diameter plumbing vent through there, you have to core out more than you're allowed of that 2x4. Because you're talking, what's the outside diameter in 2-inch pipe? Is it 2-inch outside or is it 2-inch inside? I always forget.
Either way, let's 2-inch inside.
2-inch inside. So you're boring 2 1/4, 2.5 inches to run that through a 2x4 wall, right? And there is a code where there is a percentage that you're allowed to cut out of a 2x4 in a load-bearing wall. If you exceed that, you need to put a shoe on there. Not the typical little plates, but a shoe that is a thicker gauge that's going to span that cutout, and you're going to put that in with your Tico nails like you would a joist hanger or whatever else. That's going to reinforce that 2x4. Bingo, that guy. That's going to reinforce that 2x4 and make that, again, structurally sound, so you're allowed to do that. Otherwise, you can't just go, cutting through 2x4s willy-nilly and running whatever you want through there thinking it's fine.
Good point. I've never actually used one of those shoes, but those are really cool. Yeah, good point. I'll bring that screen back up because on that screen, you brought it up, those little nail plates. Let's take a look at those too, because it's not just these shoe things that you brought up, but these nail plates too. You want to go around and make sure that every stud has one of those nail plates where electric and plumbing is going through there as well.
Absolutely.
That definitely, you want to make sure those are installed and make sure they're everywhere, because you don't want a drywaller to accidentally put a nail or a screw through your wire.
Yeah. Right into a copper pipe, right into a wire, right into something important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good one.
You would hope those things would be set far enough back where it wouldn't be an issue, but sometimes
who's actually going around I know it's like an inch and I think it's an inch and a quarter they're supposed to be back from the front, but okay, first off, there's no guarantee that your drywallers are using inch and a quarter screws, because what if they're using inch and 5/8 screws? I know still they might be far enough away, but no one's measuring. They're just drilling holes, and so they could be off a little bit.
Hey, drywalling apprentice might have a 2-inch screw in his hand and not know the difference from the look.
But it's not just drywallers. What if like tomorrow, what if like after all done, I want to hang a heavy mirror on that wall, and I'm going to go find a stud and I'm going to put a lag screw in there later down the road.
Sure.
So yeah.
Good point. Very good point.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of later, after the walls are up and everything's done, and I'm going to put in that fancy towel bar holder or toilet paper holder or a towel holder or a mirror or all the things, right? All the finishes. And I go in there, there's just drywall. I'm going to hang these off the drywall. And what happens, right? 3-6 months later, thing starts wiggling, works its way out of the drywall. Garbage. Like, you did a crappy job. You didn't plan ahead. And where I'm getting to this is backing. So now's the time to get in there and start putting in all your 2x10s is a good use of this. You could also use 3/4 plywood for backing, and start planning out where all of these things that you're going to hang on the wall, where are they going to go? So you want to make sure all your backing's in. Backing for so many things. Let's see. Let's rattle off some. Grab bars, toilet paper holders, towel bars, glass panels or doors, TV brackets, curtain rods, closet rods, stair rail, cabinets. Just confirm all of that, right? Where are all these things going to go?
Yes. And how many times have you been in someone's house and you get while you're here, can you look at the toilet paper holder in our bathroom that's loose? The towel bar in our bathroom that's loose? Because people put those chintzy little gray or white anchors or plastic, just nonsense in there, and they pull right out. If you ever use that, they pull right out.
They have these really fancy, nice drywall anchors now that you can go and buy and install them with. How many people do you know that go out there and do that? Like, I have a whole box of them in my truck for this reason when there isn't backing. But like the homeowner, DIY or whatever, they don't have a box of this. And, the chances are they open up this thing to hang it on the wall. They're not going to go stop, put everything down and run to the store, although that's what they should do. They're probably just going to install it. They're going to put this little crappy plastic one anchor in that they got with the
of course
with thing that's in the box, right? And
it came with it. Why wouldn't you? Those are the parts that came with.
Boom, done. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Yep. And brake light warranty right there.
Yes. Yes.
So get backing, put your backing in. I like to use 2x10s. It's just quick and easy for me, but it's really whatever you got laying around. I would suggest at least 3 inches in every direction of wherever you think that thing's going to go, because by the time it's all said and done, you should be double, triple, quadruple checking where these things are going to be located with your homeowner at the end. Walk them through. Okay, make sure I know this is on the plan. We talked about this 25 times, but this was all on paper. Now that you're standing in the space, you sure you want it here? Yes. Okay, because if I have to drill holes through tile, this is one and done. You're going to have a hole in your tile if this isn't in the right spot. So let's make sure we got it right. Yeah. So
that's I like the potential grab bars too. That's a huge one, I think. Right. Because even if people think they don't want grab bars, want them. down the road, aging in place, if you're planning on staying there, or maybe you have
Yeah.
a elderly parent that's going to live with you at some point, like throw it in there. It's not gonna hurt. You throw it in there, and if you ever needed it later, you know where that you have that, and you're going into solid blocking. Because those grab bars, you got a 180, 200-pound person that's going down in a shower. They go to pull on a grab
I
bar.
think they have to
keep
hold
themselves
250
up.
pounds, I think.
They should. Yeah.
Yeah.
They should. But if you're putting a regular, sleeve anchor or something in a concrete board and tile, good luck. It's not going to work. It's not going to hold it.
No.
So
no, but that was a good point of, like, when you're renovating, right? You should be renovating for the next, so it doesn't have to be renovated again. So if you can kind of think of, or make it so where updates like this can happen very easily, right? So you can put in blocking ahead of time, just like all the way around the shower. So here we go. I'm going to throw up a picture here really quick. Boom. Just go around the whole perimeter of the shower and put your blocking in. Just whether they want to or not. Like, just do it. Just do it.
Yep. Just do it. Nike.
Boom, done. Boom, done. So
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned shower doors, and I think we talked about shower doors before, but that's the same thing. That's a huge one. Like, solid blocking. Otherwise, that door,
your shower guy's
going to
be really pissed off if there's nothing in the back there for them to screw into.
Yep, because he knows he's getting a call back on that door. You're doing a nice frameless, heavy door. He knows he's getting a call back if he's not going into solid framing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just plan on that.
For sure.
Let's see. What else do we want to think about before we go and cover everything up?
Large sums of cash that you want to put in there, in case you don't trust banks.
Or what we used to do is a penny. Remember?
A penny.
Back in the day, we used to find a penny. Somebody on the job site's got to have this is back in the day. And I don't know if anyone actually, I think they stopped making pennies, right?
I think so.
I think Trump said that he was going to stop making pennies or something like that, because it took
it costs
two,
like 6
2.5
cents
cents for every penny
or
something like that. Anyway, back in the day, we used to find a penny with the date, with the year that the project was being done, and then you throw it in.
Yeah.
And I've found plenty of pennies in walls with that date. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, time capsule, do whatever you want. I opened up this one kitchen, and on the back of the cabinet, it's just like on the back of the kitchen cabinet, it says, it said something, paraphrasing, it said something like, "You will not believe what a pain in the ass this kitchen was," or something like that. It's kind of funny. So
nice. I know. I like that. I know I've seen the gag a couple of times where people were burying, like, go get a skeleton from like a Halloween store or something and bury that in the wall, and just like, so someone uncovers that later. And
I haven't seen this in the Midwest, so maybe you have my time there, but here seems to be very common. Drywall pieces, interior walls. There's just like, I'll take down an interior wall, and it's just littered of garbage, like old drywall garbage. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
I didn't even,
for sure.
I would never even thought to do that. But these people I'm thinking they're that cheap that they didn't want to take their garbage, so they just put it in the walls and then closed it up.
Cheap, lazy.
Now, benefit of the doubt, would you consider that potentially they were doing it for sound barrier?
No
way.
I think that's someone being an asshole who's trying to justify it. Is it, it's going to help mitigate sound a little bit. No.
Yeah.
No way. Total laziness. That's it.
Right?
You want sound? Go buy some rock wool and put rock wool on the wall. Spend a half a day putting some rock wool in.
Then they would have to buy it, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't buy I don't buy that for a minute.
Wish I had a picture of that, because it was just ridiculous. And I've seen it many times, with more times than I wish I would. I'm trying to go through these old pictures and see if I have something quickly to. I found it. Look at
Yeah.
me. Yeah. So I found a picture. This is give you an example. So we're ripping out this wall,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And look at all these pieces of leftover drywall that's just thrown in the middle, just in
Yep.
behind the wall. And it was every interior wall of this house that we ended up opening up had this. Ain't that just disgusting?
Yes, it is.
Jeez.
Yes, it is. You know, I mean, not to mention just the
That's what
professional
we're dealing with
courtesy
out
of
there.
like someone else who may be working on the house down the road. And in the event that you didn't allow for that low voltage people before you were drywalling, they may try and just snake something and fish something through the wall, right? And now they can't because you loaded it with drywall chunks, and now they can't fish anything through the wall, and they got to freaking open it up. And yeah, you're just, professional courtesy.
Rude.
It is rude.
That's rude.
Think about the next guy.
Yeah. Just rude.
Yeah.
That will never happen on my job site. Do you know? Imagine if that was happening on my job site. And knowing me, I would lay an egg right there. Like,
oh yeah,
you guys really? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So before we closing everything up, what I have done in the past, and I've actually got this idea off of other YouTubers that I've seen many years ago. They would go around and use spray paint on the subfloor, and they would mark the subfloor where all of the studs were. And I thought that was a brilliant idea, and I started doing it when I got out here, and I like it. I haven't gone as far as some of these people out there are doing. You can see the black marks on the subfloor there. What you're seeing on this wall, particularly in this picture, is soundproofing. We were soundproofing the wall. So that's soundproofing material on the wall. But you see the black marks on the subfloor. That's us identifying where all the studs are. So you can take this to the next level. I haven't done it yet, but I've been eager, is to just have a bunch of different colors of spray paint. And one is for electric, one's for plumbing, where all the plumbing stack is, or where any of the copper lines are running, or PEX lines, where's the electrical boxes at, right? So when the drywaller goes and throws the drywall up, or better yet, when you come afterwards and all the drywall's up and you're like, I'm really sure that there was an outlet over here, but you don't see one because they forgot to cut it in, and they just covered up the plate, and you don't. Well, you can see a green, a orange, whatever color you decided, electric was going to be. You can see that there's an outlet there because you spray painted the subfloor. Right. I think that's a brilliant idea. I love it. It probably helps you in the long run too.
I would agree.
That's I started doing that with
studs. I don't
studs,
do that, but I certainly like it. Yeah. It's a great idea. Just like you said, alleviate some of those questions down the road. And how long is it going to take you? I always take pictures before I close up the walls for similar reason. But even that, then you're kind of gauging that when you're looking at pictures. Well, how far off of this stud? Well, so that's a good idea. Just, why not? Map it out real quick and foolproof.
Why not?
Yeah. Plus it's there on site. Not everyone has your pictures, right? So that's there on site for everybody to see.
Right. So pictures is a good point. You want to go around, take pictures, even a video. If you want to do a video, that's not a bad idea. Pictures and video is really cool because what you can do there is not only do you have proof and help for you after the drywall's up, but this is something cool that you can put together for your client, and you can then give them a little collage for future and give it to them at the end when the project's all done. And now they have a video and a picture of the insides of their walls. And you can take it a step further, which I do. And again, I'll see if I can grab a picture of it, what I'm doing. But basically, you saw backing, right? We talked about backing for your toilet paper holder. Well, I go around and I take photos of my measuring tape to tell me where all of those are. So, I mean, I'll show you a picture of one that I've taken just because I found it really quick. So this is just me taking a photo of my measuring tape coming off of the inside corner. And then when I'm all said and done, I can then, when I'm ready to hang that grab bar or whatever it is I'm doing, I can go and look at that photo and I have a measurement from left or right. And then that way there's no second guessing. You can write this all down, make notes. I just take pictures. It's really easy for me. And you just have to be methodical about where that picture is coming from, where that measurements bouncing off of. Just acknowledge that, because you're going to have finishes and everything on top of that. But like I said, if you're using a 2x10 or a 2x12 or whatever, and you're giving yourself 3 inches of wiggle room, you're going to be safe. You're going to be golden. So yeah, pictures.
Yeah.
Worth 1,000 words.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Oh, all right. What else you got there, Buster?
I think we talked about some of this before, just because we had already done a framing 101. Just fire blocking and fire stopping and air sealing. Same thing applies. I mean, before you're hanging drywall, make sure all those little cavities and those little holes that you drilled out for electrical work and plumbing work, make sure those are filled. Whether it's spray foam or whether it's the actual, fire caulking or fire blocking or fire stop, whatever you want to call it. Just make sure all that's done. Look at every little nook and cranny before you just start hanging drywall, because once you start hanging drywall, it's not that it's too late, but you sure as hell don't want to start working backwards at that point, because the way those guys hang drywall and tape it and finish it, you don't want to have to come back in and take stuff down, Yeah.
Amen, sir.
Yeah.
Probably a little late, but you also want to make sure everything's flat, true. It's where tile's going to go, especially where tile's going.
Yes.
So like in the shower, just kind of put a long piece of wood or your level across all the studs, and just make sure that it's somewhat flat and level. If you need to put a couple shims in, if you need to shave down some 2x4s because they're crowned the wrong way, whatever. Now's the time, and you think it's going to be tedious work to do now to flatten those 2x4s, but let me tell you, it's easier to flatten a 2x4 than to flatten the tile.
Yeah, most certainly. Yeah.
Your tile guy is going to not be happy if that wall's not flat. So make it as flat as you can. That will help the drywallers make it as flat as they can. If they're going to drywall inside, depending on your waterproofing system, how you're going to do that. But yeah, I think it's just, I much rather flatten the walls than leave it up to my tiler. And at least if I can get it really close, and then let the tile guy, decide on if he wants to do it better or what, because then it's his decision on where he's going to cheat, if he's going to have to cheat on the tile or cheat in the framing or whatever. But, just now's the time to do the best job you can, because it's all going to get worse every layer that goes on. So.
Yeah. Snowball effect for sure. Yeah. Good
okay,
point.
Sir, what else you got? I think I'm all out. I can't think of anything else.
That's it. That's all I got too.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I hope that was a helpful pre-drywall 101, what to check for before the walls go up. Cheers.
Yes. Cheers.